Returning now to Uncensored is Mohammed Marandi, Professor at Tehran University, who only has a few minutes, but wanted to have his say on today's developments. Welcome back to you, Professor. You posted today in reply to Donald Trump saying that both sides are locking in an immediate ceasefire and peace is nearly upon us. There will be no agreement until Trump accepts and implements Iran's conditions. There will be no compromise. The Islamic Republic can wait until the Trump economy crumbles. So very uncompromising response there from you. Does there not need to be a deal that suits all parties?
Sure, but we almost had a deal. I think everyone knows the details of the deal. And the Trump negotiators and their messages that they send back and forth with the Iranian negotiators, they've basically accepted the framework. There's some small details that they have differences over, but then every few days, Trump goes out and says,
the debate over the Iran conflict has reached a point where one major question continues to divide analysts around the world. Can the United States actually achieve victory in a war that has remained locked in a prolonged stalemate? In today's discussion, we're looking at a heated exchange involving Professor Marandi on Piers Morgan's show, where he breaks down why he believes Donald Trump and the United States face major challenges in this conflict. Before we dive into the full story, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Now, let's watch the full exchange and break down the key arguments, because this debate raises some serious questions about strategy, power, and the future of this conflict.
Carried out an assault on Iran over the last couple of weeks. And this is one of the extraordinary things that prevents any sort of ceasefire and agreement, because the United States keeps attacking Iran. But the last two times, the Iranian response was been very heavy-handed over the past 10 days or so. And then yesterday we saw what Iran, and this morning we saw what Iran did to the Israeli regime. They said themselves that they want to flatten Beirut. And of course, in the West, no one cares about the people of Beirut. So the Iranians had to step in. They thought Iran was bluffing, and Iran wasn't. And not only did Iran hit back, it hit back very hard. So obviously it has the upper hand. But also when it comes to morality, Piers, they're carrying out genocide in Gaza. Just today, they've been killing more kids. In the West Bank, they murdered a seven-month-old child. And in Beirut, they're killing kids every day. So the Iranians want this to stop. And the Americans are insisting that, no, let's exclude Lebanon and Gaza from the ceasefire. And Iran says, no, Gaza and Lebanon are both a part of the ceasefire.
And if Donald Trump, as he's been repeatedly saying, has now put the nuclear aspirations and capability that Iran may or may not have as the sort of axis of victory here in terms of sorting this out, is there any scenario that you can see where Iran would voluntarily hand over its enriched uranium?
Iran is not going to hand over anything to the Americans. But the Iranians have already had a deal in 2015, the JCPOA. And in that deal, Iran gave lots of concessions. But Iran is not going to give up its nuclear program. Iran is not going to give up its sovereignty. Iran was negotiating with the Trump regime before it carried out the first war, the 12-day war with the Israelis, we're on the verge, we're close to its anniversary. And then we were negotiating again with the Trump regime when they launched this massive war against Iran, where they lost, where they failed. So for Iran, negotiating the nuclear program or elements of the nuclear program in a way in which it eases any fears that may truly exist is not a problem, as long as Iran's sovereignty and its right to have a peaceful nuclear program and enrichment is preserved. But the United States wants to take away Iran's rights as a sovereign country. And the revolution was about sovereignty, independence, dignity, and it's not going to happen.
The Iranian people are clearly suffering through all this. Iran is clearly suffering economically through all of this, as indeed are many other countries as a result of the war. How long can Iran sustain the economic fallout from this war?
You know, Piers, this is an existential threat that the United States has imposed upon the Iranian people. For us, this is a war of survival. We have to win this war. And therefore, we will win the siege, no matter how difficult it becomes. We don't have any crazy or excessive demands. They carried out aggression against us, killed thousands of our people, bombed our infrastructure. And our demands, to anyone who looks at the Iranian demands, they'll say that they're reasonable. So if the United States wants to continue this siege warfare, I promise you, the global economy will go downhill fast. It will go into recession and then a depression. That's not what Iran wants. But Iran is not going to allow the United States to strangle it.
Professor Marandi, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. Thank you very much.
The clash may not have reached the usual explosive levels we've come to expect from Professor Miranda and Piers Morgan, but the points raised during this discussion reveal some of the deepest divisions surrounding the Iran conflict. One of the biggest arguments made is that the history behind this crisis is far more complicated than many headlines suggest. Supporters of the Iran nuclear agreement argue that the deal was designed to limit Iran's nuclear activities through restrictions and international monitoring, while critics have long argued that it did not go far enough. The central question now is whether leaving that agreement helped create the conditions we see today. Critics of Donald Trump argue that his decision to withdraw from the agreement changed the direction of the conflict and increased tensions across the region. As this debate continues, one thing is clear. The consequences of these decisions are being felt far beyond the battlefield, affecting diplomacy, economies, and global stability. But what do you think? Was the right strategy taken? Or did these decisions make the situation worse? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more political breakdowns and in-depth discussions.